What if I told you Lord Rama, the god hero of the epic Ramayana, shares many traits with Vedic Indra?
What if I further told you that the Ramayana isn't a departure from the Vedas, but a hidden narrative ritual where Rama acts as a poetic second Indra? Indra is indeed the most named deity in the Ramayana. One would think it is Vishnu, but it isn't. We know that with the onset of the Itihasic or the epic age, that the primacy of Indra as the central deity of the Vedic peoples starts to show cracks and is challenged. This is all well known, and unfortunately the focus of most individuals interested in the lore of Indra in the Ramayana. But it is very apparent that at the time of the original Valmiki Ramayana, that Indra is still overwhelmingly considered the paragon of all ideals and divine characteristics, and that the Vedic religion of this time is still very much Aindriya-centric as it was in the Vedas. I would go as far as to say that even Indra, supposedly sending distractions to sages in great austerity, is not insecurity, but instead poetic allegory for the testing of the senses. Let us dive into chapter 1, Indra as the paragon of all ideals in the Ramayana age. Let's get to concrete instances. Take for example the very opening of the Balakanda, Sarga chapter 1. The great sage Valmiki asked Narada, the foremost of saints, versed in Vedas, "Tell me, O saint, who is at present the most accomplished, learned, powerful, noble-minded, truthful, firm in vows, of excellent moral character and grateful turn of mind, who ministers the good of every creature, who is well familiar with manners and customs of men, who is peerless, clever and beautiful to look at, who is nor subject to anger nor malice, yet whom when enraged even the gods fear to face in battle, whose prowess can protect the world from evil, who is the best of kings and can justly be compared with Indra. O sage, you alone know who is qualified on earth." At the outset, I must state that there exist so many recensions and versions of the Ramayana that I cannot possibly account for them all. I will therefore, for this exploratory analysis, stick to the original by Sri Valmiki and cite the verses wherever I can. The primacy of Indra in receiving the first oblations of the rituals mentioned shows that even in the Valmiki Ramayana, the ritual hierarchy remains firmly Vedic and Indra-centric, not yet fully subordinated to later Puranic theology. The entire Ashwamedha Yajna, which is the conquering horse sacrifice, aligns kingship with Indra's archetype. Rama's father, Dasharatha's sovereignty, is legitimized through Indra, positioning this human king as a terrestrial reflection of this celestial god. In the context of the miraculous birth of Rama and the brothers, Dasharatha is even said to be gladdened like Indra, a comparison showing an Aindriya cosmic approval framework. Shanta was dearer to our Lord than Paulami to Indra, in the context of Rishyashringa departing after the Ashwamedha. This comparison to Indra and Chachi shows that even marital devotion is measured through Indra's paradigm. This indicates that Indra is not just a war god figure, but a normative standard across human life, kingship, ritual, and even marital ideas within the Valmiki Ramayana. The Devas indeed project their energies into the allies of Rama, that is, the Vanara humanoid ape-like species, suggesting that Rama's campaign is a coordinated extension of earlier Vaidika Deva functions. We'll address this head-on in the Vanara section. Eventually, King Dasharatha addresses his assembly of ministers, citizens and sages to announce his retirement and his intention to appoint Rama as the Yuvaraja or crown prince. In Ayodhya Kanda Sarga 2, Shakra Tulya Balam Ramam Purandara Samo Virye, in justifying Rama's fitness for the throne, Dasharatha explicitly benchmarks his son's leadership and martial capability against the power of Indra, also known as Shakra and Purandara. In Ayodhya Kanda Sarga 16, Rama issued from his palace like a lion, mounting a gold and jewelled adorned chariot covered in tiger skin that rumbled like a thundercloud, Meghanada, with the blinding splendor of the thousand-eyed Indra, Sahasraksha, and horses like Indra's own, Hari. He proceeded as a second Indra, Dvitiya Eva Vasavaha, to the eyes of the people. Therefore, the second Indra title signifies a horizontal doubling of Rama's divine authority. He is deemed the earthly vessel of this exact sovereign energy that governs the celestial triple world, which is Indra. In Ayodhya Kanda Sarga 25, Kaushalya blessed Rama before his departure by invoking the very specific victory consecration known as the Abhishekha that Indra received after the destruction of the demon Vritra, ritually binding his success to the most foundational triumph in the Vedic religion. The venerable Lord Hanuman is described as hard as the thunderbolt, Vajra or Bajrangbali, and quick as the eagle, Vainateya. Balakanda Sarga 17 declares, Vajra samhano peto, Vainateya samo jave. Even though Hanuman is the son of the wind god Vayu, his physical invincibility is defined by the Vajra, the signature essence of Indra, proving that Indra-like durability remains the ultimate metric for an indestructible warrior. The use of the Vajra and the Vainateya, the divine eagle Garuda, often linked to Indra in the Vedas as Suparna Shena or Garutman, and of course Garuda to Vishnu, shows that Rama's most vital ally
is essentially a composite of the highest Vedic martial, zoomorphic, or animal attributes. Following the successful protection of sage Vishwamitra's sacrifice, Rama used the Manava and Agneya weapons to repel Maricha and slay Subahu, finally clearing the spiritual grounds of demonic interference. In Balakanda Sarga 30, after purging the sacrificial grounds of Rakshasas, the resident hermits honor Rama by comparing his martial success directly to that of Indra, Indram Ivamaraha. In Ayodhya Kanda, Sarga 74, it is said that Bharata, Rama's brother, in his agony over Rama's exile and the stain on his family, cast off his ornaments and collapsed to the earth, falling like the banner of Shakra, that is Indra, after the festivity is over. The comparison to the Indra-Dwaja, Indra's ceremonial flagstaff, indicates that the Indra-Standard is the structural axis of the kingdom. When the festival ends and the banner is lowered, the ritual space loses its divine energy. Similarly, with Rama, the second Indra, removed from Ayodhya, the royal authority, represented by Bharata, literally and figuratively hits the ground. In Ayodhya Kanda, Sarga 97, Rama pacifies an enraged Lakshmana, his younger brother, and declares that even the sea-girdled earth is not difficult for him to obtain. Yet he would not desire Shakratvam, the state of being of Indra, if it were offered through adharma or unrighteousness. In Ayodhya Kanda, Sarga 99, it is said that Bharata beheld the sacred forest hut of Rama, which appeared like a sacrificial altar, Vedim Iva Adhare, and was adorned with gold-plated bows that were like unto the weapons of Indra, Shakra, Ayudha, Nikashaihi, rendering the retreat as unassailable as a lion's cave. The comparison of the bows to the Shakra Ayudha, Indra's weapons, transforms this ascetic hermitage into a high-stakes military and ritual outpost. Indeed, Indra is also an archer in the Vedas, and of course Rudra. The science of martial weapons is called Dhanur Veda, or archery knowledge, for a very good reason. In Aranyakanda, Sarga 6, it is said that the great sages appeared before Rama after the ascension of Shadabhanga, declaring that as Indra is among the gods, so are you the Supreme Lord, Vasavo Devatanam Iva, of the Ikṣvāku race and the entire world. This direct comparison by the forest ascetics marks the transition of Rama's identity from a prince in exile to the functional equivalent of Indra on earth. My favorite one in Aranyakanda, Sarga 2, has Lakshmana, the heroic younger brother of Rama, said to be an avatar of Adisesha, the celestial serpent, likens Rama to Indra. In Lakshmana's own words, he addresses his older brother in a reassuring context. O Rama, you are like Indra, Lord of all beings. What makes you feel sad like an orphan when I am at your service like a servant? Very interesting. After an initial encounter with the demon Viradha, he is reassured by his brother by calling him Vasavo Mapaha, comparable to Indra, questioning why he should feel like an orphan when he has a servant like him at his side. Even in the depths of the Dandaka forest, the Indra-Standard of sovereignty remains the primary psychological anchor for these brothers. In the Uttarakanda, Rama and Sita are likened to Indra and Indra's wife Shachi, taking in his hand the pure nectar of flowers as intoxicating as the Maireyaka wine. Rama made Sita drink it just as Indra does Shachi. There are far too many others to cover,
but I think these instances sufficiently show how Indra is still the paragon of all divine virtues and idealisms, even in the Ramayana age, which ushers in and sows the seeds of Vaishnavism in a sense. But comparisons aside, what role does Indra play in the Ramayana? Let's elaborate on this in chapter 2, Indra as an unseen guardian or strategist for Rama's journey. In Āranya Kāṇḍa, Sarga 5, Indra descended in a radiant chariot to visit the sage Sarabhanga, but he purposely left before Rama could speak to him, stating that Rama must first complete his great deed, that is, the killing of Ravana, before they can meet face to face. Indra's refusal to meet Rama prematurely shows that he is overseeing Rama's journey from a distance, acting as a divine strategist. It suggests that Rama must earn his full Aindriya status through the ritual of war. The meeting is deferred as a reward for the successful restoration of Rita or cosmic order. In Yuddha Kāṇḍa, Sarga 102, Rama fought on foot against Ravana, who was in a chariot. Indra dispatched his own charioteer, Matali, along with his personal golden chariot, divine armor, and the Vajra-like spear, to ensure that the battle was equal. This is indeed the ultimate theological merger in the epic. At the climax of the war, the proverbial second Indra, that is Rama, and the actual Indra become one in purpose and equipment. By riding in Indra's chariot, Rama is for all intents and purposes acting as a proxy Indra, wielding the literal tools of the Deva of Devas to strike down the Vritra of the age, that is Ravana. In Yuddha Kāṇḍa, Sarga 108, Rama delivers the final blow to Ravana using a celestial missile originally forged by Brahma for Indra's conquest of the three worlds. This weapon, described as having the essence of the sun-like Vajra thunderbolt, Vajrasaram, and the form of death, Yamarupam, was capable of shattering mountains and entire armies, just as Indra's own weapon did in the Vedic age. This is parallel to Twashta forging the Vajra for Indra. The death of Ravana is explicitly framed as and compared to a reenactment of the Vritra slaying by Indra, as is narrated in the iconic RigVeda 1.32. By using an arrow designed for Indra and infused with the power of the Vajra, Rama fulfills this primordial Vedic archetype of Indra. This proves that the entire Ramayana is structurally a Vedic ritual of restoration, where the Indra-Standard is the final and only force capable of ending the Rakshasa threat. In Yuddha Kāṇḍa, Sarga 99, it is said that Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, upon seeing her fallen husband, theorizes that Indra, Vasava himself, descended in the guise of Rama, Rama Rupena, employing an unfathomable illusion, Maya, specifically to orchestrate the demon king's destruction. This passage reveals a profound Vedic resonance, where the victory over Ravana is viewed as a continuation of Indra's cosmic battles against those opposed to Rita or cosmic order. By suggesting that Rama is a vessel for Indra's Maya, the divine power of creative transformation and deception, Mandodari identifies the hero as the literal manifestation of the Aindriya function. This anchors the entire epic in the RigVedic tradition of Indra as a deceiver of the malevolent, where the Deva of Devas adopts whatever form or illusion is necessary to restore the cosmic equilibrium. To an ancient Vedic Arya reader, or rather a listener audience, this recitation would have served as a direct bridge to the RigVeda, where the ritual praise of Indra's heroic exploits was the central religious expression. By wielding a weapon that smashes through mountains, Rama is a ritual participant in the eternal cycle of the proverbial Indra-Vritra conflict. The composition of the original Ramayana reflects a setting where the Aindriya Sampradaya of the Vedic or Dharmic religion remained very much the dominant spiritual undercurrent. The text suggests that the Indra-Standard of sovereignty was indeed the primary lens through which power was understood, making it highly probable that the audience viewed Rama as a figurative, poetic, or even literal terrestrial manifestation of Indra, specifically assumed to execute the cosmic mandate of destroying Ravana, the Vritra of that era. We have addressed how Indra-specific comparisons are the metaphor of choice for the Ramayana's heroes. So, does the Ramayana have any basis in the Vedic corpus? Let us address this in chapter 3, the Vedas and the Ramayana, an underexplored connection, the elusive Rama-Maghavan and the Ikṣvākus in the Vedas. RigVeda 10.93 declares many a generous patron, including solar kings like Vena, Pritavana, a descendant of Prithu, and of note to us, an interesting and elusive individual named Rama-Maghavan. Maghavan is a well-known epithet of Indra. Is this our Lord Rama of the Ramayana, mentioned in the same breath as fellow Ikṣvāku solar kings? The Vedas indeed glorify distant ancestral compatriots of Rama, which include Purukutsa, Mandata, who is an Indra poet bard himself, Trasadasyu, Ikṣvāku, and Bhagirath. Indeed, this Rama-Maghavan's generosity seems to have been superlative, and therefore the epithet of Indra, Maghavan, denoting the bountiful, ever-giving, generous one, is attached to him as a suffix name, Rama-Maghavan. Considering this verse is present in the late Mandala 10 of the RigVeda, which is more contemporary than the core nucleus of the family books, it may not be implausible to assert that this may well be the Rama. The Ikṣvāku lineage is traditionally traced back to Surya through his son Vaivasvata Manu, the progenitor of humanity, whose son Ikṣvāku established this solar dynasty or Surya Vamsha. In the Aditya Hridayam, Yuddha Khanda 105.8, the solar Indra merger is explicitly affirmed when sage Agastya invokes the sun as Mahindra, great Indra, signifying that the celestial radiance of Surya and the sovereign power of Indra are but two functional aspects of the same supreme Vedic reality. This unity ensures that Rama is the terrestrial vessel for the Surya Indra-Standard required to shatter the stasis of the Vritra like Ravana. In my video on Soma, which also deep dives into the solar nature of Indra in the Vedas, we conclusively proved that Indra is not merely a storm and rain god. Take a look at that for a further reaffirmation of this. With that being said, a certain Devi also features in the Vedas. So let's trail into chapter 4. Sita-Devi in the Vedas? Sita also finds mention in the RigVeda. Surprised? Sita is a goddess of agricultural fertility in the RigVeda. She is said to be animated from the waters by Indra. She is even called Indra Patni or Indra's wife in the Yagya in the Paraskara Griha Sutra. Sita in the Veda, you may question. Yes, while not Janaki of the Ramayana, in the RigVeda she is a goddess who is the personification of the furrow, as in RigVeda 4.57, the trench made by a plough. She is related to the Ramayana Sita thematically, to be sure, which again reinforces the Indra-Rama connection that we are so interested in. RigVeda 4.57.7 says, May Indra take hold of Sita, may Pushan guide her, may she, well stored with water, yield it as milk year after year. RigVeda 6.55 has Indra referred to as Pushan's brother, and therefore is Lakshmana a parallel to Pushan? When the Ramayana presents Sita as kidnapped, and both Indra and Pushan's divine role is retrieval so very often in the Vedas, one can't help but think of the parallel when Indra retrieves the cattle of knowledge and refacilitates the flow of knowledge, and how Rama must play the Indra-like role of the sun and the rain, seeking out fertility and potential, that is Sita, and Lakshmana plays the Pushan role. Lakshmana is the brother who clears paths, scouts forests, guards the household. Really a functional Pushan. Interesting parallels, don't you think? Lakshmana is also an earthly Savitar, as he is the impeller, the facilitator of the actions of Rama. Indra is the Chakra, the mighty and capable one, but he requires the Prasava, the divine impulse or activation of Savitar, to awaken and direct that power towards Rita, the cosmic law. Paraskara Griha Sutra Adhyaya 2, Khandika 17 declares, in whose substance dwells the prosperity of all Vedic and worldly works, Indra's wife Sita I invoke. May she not abandon me in whatever work I do. Swaha, her who rich in horses, rich in cows, rich in delight, supports living beings. Urvara, the field, who is wreathed with threshing floors, I invoke at the sacrifice, the firm one. May she not abandon me, Swaha. He makes oblations of the cooked sacrificial food to Sita, Yaja, the goddess of sacrifice, Shama, the goddess of zealous devotion, Bhuti, the goddess of welfare. But the less obvious parallel is Rama as Indra and Lakshmana as Vishnu. Let us qualify this with an allegory from the Ramayana itself. In Yuddha-Kanda, Sarga 99, verses 11 to 12, it is said that Ravana, after driving away the Vanara army, beheld the undefeated Rama standing with his brother Lakshmana. They appeared together like Indra, Vasava, alongside Vishnu, with Rama holding a bow so massive it seemed to scrape the sky. They are the inseparable duo. The comparison to the Indra-Vishnu pair, Vishnu is of course known as Upendra, suggests that the Rama-Lakshmana relationship is a primordial cosmic partnership required for the destruction of the chaos that is Ravana. In the Indra setting of the Ramayana, Rama represents the sovereign, vivifying nature of Indra, while Lakshmana acts as the pervasive, supporting strength of Vishnu, creating an invincible front that even Ravana cannot surmount. We've covered a lot of ground so far, but we haven't addressed arguably everyone's favorite character of the epic, the venerable Lord Hanuman. So let's swing into chapter 5, Hanuman and the Vrishikapi, Vayu and the Maruts puzzle. Vrishikapi in the Rigveda is said to be an ape-like figure and a friend of Indra. Vrisha meaning bull and Kapi meaning monkey. Rigveda 10.86, known as the Vrishikapi hymn, is notoriously difficult to interpret. As a disclaimer, I would like to add that many scholars view this hymn as satirical, even let's say a bit spicy, depicting Indra, Vrishikapi and Indrani, the wife of Indra, in a tension-filled household scene. So the grounds to deem him a proto-Hanuman figure are kind of shaky, but in my headcanon, I'd like to think so, though this is purely personal. Nevertheless, let us investigate him, if for nothing but a thought exercise. Vrishikapi is described as thorny in the Rigveda, as is Lord Hanuman in the Ramayana, in addition to being golden or akin to the sun. The oblations consumed by Vrishikapi are implied to be ritually equivalent to being consumed by Indra. Vrishikapi is evidently favored by Indra. Rigveda 10.86/12 proclaims, "I am not happy, Indrani, without my friend Vrishikapi, whose acceptable oblation here, purified with water, proceeds to the gods. Indra is above all." Vrishikapi is also known as the destroyer of sleep, that is, the sun, denoting his solar quality. Rigveda 10.86.21 proclaims, "Come back, Vrishikapi, that we may do what is agreeable to you. You who are the destroyer of sleep, come home again by the road. Indra is above all." In Kiṣkinda-Khanda, Sarga 66, it is said that Hanuman was sired by his father, the wind god Vayu, upon his mother, Anjana, inheriting the same boundless speed and shattering force that defines the Maruts in the Rigveda. The Maruts are the Marut Ganas, the troop of storm deities who are the Puranic life winds, the legion who support Indra's battles. In the Ramayana, this collective is concentrated into the single person known as Maruti, an epithet of Hanuman, who can perhaps be deemed a para-Marut, though it is certainly distributed among the other Vanaras too. The Maruts, the soldier storm host, the legions of Indra, are famously called Rudryas, the sons of Rudra. Their uncontrolled, furious form is indeed implied to be the very Rudras in the Veda. By identifying Hanuman as Maruti, the epic subtly retains his Rudra-like nature, fierce, volatile, and unstoppable, while grounding it in the element of Vayu or air. Hanuman's association as an Amsham or avatara of Lord Rudra Shiva himself brings it all together. Rudra, as it happens, is also a storm and wind god. Vrishikapi, incidentally, is also one of the 11 Rudras, Ekadasha Rudra, according to the Agni Purana. Indeed, Hanuman is also known as Maruti due to being the scion of Vayu, who is known as Maruta. Vrishikapi is also an epithet of Agni, Vishnu and Shiva concurrently. I represent these associations in my artwork with the fiery tail, also a reference to Hanuman's iconic burning of Lanka, a subtle Vaishnava tilak and Shaiva Bhasma or Vibhuti forehead insignia combination. In Rigveda 10.108, Charama, the divine hound or messenger, crosses the great waters, Rasa, to find the stolen cattle hidden by the Panis, the hoarders, in the cave known as Vala. Sharama's dialogue with the Panis is the direct Vedic ancestor of Hanuman's dialogue with Ravana in the Sundarakanda. Just as Sharama finds the light-giving cows for Indra, Hanuman finds the radiant Sita for Rama. So, what about the rest of the Vanaras, you may ask? Let's address this in the next chapter, Vanaras and Rama as an echo of Indra and the Maruts. Rama and the Vanaras, and for that matter, Shiva and his Ganas, are very clearly an echo of Indra and the Maruts, the soldier legion, the hosts of Indra, leaping, swarming in glittering armor, and being both benevolent and frenzied. Indeed, the RigVeda firmly declares Indra Marutva as the Ganapati in the same breath as his status as the sageliest of sages in RigVeda 10.112. This god and legion motif is the structural backbone of the Indo-European wild hunt mythological motif, a divine, frantic, and atmospheric procession where a central sovereign god leads a host of soldier gods, often animalistic or frenzied or excited warriors. By framing Rama and the Vanaras through this lens, you also align the Ramayana with the oldest strata of Vedic and Indo-European lore. In Yuddha-Kanda, Sarga 4, it is said that as Rama marched towards the ocean, the Vanara host followed him with a sound like the roaring of a storm cloud, leaping and swarming in a massive, glittering formation that covered the earth, mirroring the boisterous, glittering, luminous, bedecked with jewels and weaponry like the Maruts, following Indra Marutva. Considering the Vanaras, and especially Hanuman's association with Vayu, the wind god, the Maruts, Indra, and Rudra within the Ramayana itself, this is hardly a leap of imagination. I have abundantly demonstrated how the heroes of the Ramayana echo the primordial heroes and motifs of the Vedas. So, people are bound to bring up a certain villain, an antagonist that throws a wrench into this primacy of Indra that we have painstakingly proven even in the context of the Ramayana. The son of Ravana, Meghanada, also known as Indrajit. So let's thunder into chapter 6, the Indrajit Meghanada problem. Uttarakanda, which is book 7, is widely accepted as a later addition to the Ramayana. Interestingly, this book contains that backstory of Meghanada, how he defeated Indra and earned the title Indrajit from Brahma. And this epithet is, interestingly enough, almost entirely restricted to this Kanda. The moment Lakshmana slays the demon is the ultimate proof that the Indra-Standard still remained supreme in the original core. He uses the Aindrastra, Indra's weapon. Even the so-called conqueror of Indra, Indrajit, is eventually brought down by the literal power of Indra. Look closely at the climax of the battle between Lakshmana and this so-called conqueror of Indra. In Yuddha-Kanda, Sarga 90, we see the ultimate irony. Lakshmana doesn't use a new, higher weapon to defeat the man who supposedly humbled Indra. He invokes the Aindrastra itself, the missile presided over by Indra himself. He utters a solemn oath. If Rama is truly the paragon of truth and dharma, then let this Aindrastrena find its mark. With that, the head of the so-called Indra conqueror is removed by the very power he claimed to have mastered. The original Valmiki core is telling us that the Indra-Standard is invincible when backed up by our heroes. The name Indrajit was a later label, but the Aindrastra is the original, undisputed truth weapon of this epic. It is narrated that the large head of Indrajit, separated from his trunk and moistened with blood, was seen on the ground, shining like gold. This is an Indra-style slaying, to be sure. Such is the high-voltage Vedic core of the Ramayana. So, was he even Indrajit to begin with? Or was this title another late interpolation? Today, we see so many engaging in casual online slander, invoking this name, Indrajit, to humble the Deva of Devas. Regardless of the truth within the veil, it is time we practice some spiritual decorum. No real civilization claiming Vedic origin or provenance should casually demean the Deva of Devas Indra. Let us hail the Deva of Devas as he was originally conceived by the rishis instead of casually slandering him. Indra's monument is the cosmos, and he is indeed realized by questioning him, but not in the way modern people do.
With all that being said, this analysis is not an attempt to dismantle tradition, nor infringe on people's personal beliefs and preferred deities or Ishta-devatas. I seek to demonstrate how the Ramayana echoes the Vedic corpus. They are the reverberations of Vedic cosmology and ontology. With that being said, there is still one tale within it that someone may bring up. The Ahalya episode. This is deserving of its own episode, so watch out for that coming very soon.